This is VelociCoaster, widely considered among the coaster community as the ride you need to experience. Some would even go as far to call it life-changing, which gotta keep you wondering, what did they put in this ride? Well, instead of your typical review, y'all asked to answer the real question: is it peak? Plus, for some of y'all who still need to ride this coaster, this video will hopefully serve as the perfect example of what to expect. So this is... If you want to get to the actual ride experience, you can skip to the timestamp on screen. But for my non-enthusiasts out there who have never heard this ride or just want to hear it talked about again, let me explain. Just like last episode, this elite ride is dead set in the heart of Orlando, Florida, home to the ultimate lineup of theme parks. It's kind of hard not to mention how good the rides here are. Now, despite being a Universal park, VelociCoaster isn't exactly in Universal Studios. Instead, it's right next door in Islands of Adventure, which some may call better than Studios, and honestly, it's all thanks to the investment. Back in the day, this was basically Epic Universe, a complete shift of Universal Studios. Less of a studio backlot vibe, and more otherworldly adventures, which explains why you see rides like Spider-Man, Forbidden Journey, and Incredible Hulk all in the same park. Did I mention Dr. Zeus? Despite the huge success that Islands was, there was a point in time where Universal was in a tiny pit. Removing the previous park icons, which was dueling dragons, really made a lot of fans resent Universal. And while Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure, the coaster which took its place, actually is a very fun ride which I highly recommend. Remember, this was pre-VelociCoaster, so if you wanted thrills, Hulk was your best bet, as Hagrid's is technically a family coaster, not the ideal replacement for dueling dragons, leading to a lot of hate online and everyone calling Universal too screen focused. Although Universal really said
it became personal with me,
because they really had a secret ace up their sleeve. While actively building Hagrid's, they were already planning a second coaster in the works. And like getting double stacked in Uno, Universal whipped out between $70 to $100 million more for this ride, as it would soon take the spot of the Triceratops experience in Jurassic Park. The area needed some love, and this coaster would hopefully do it. Now, they weren't messing around either, because the ones who would manufacture this coaster is truly Universal bringing out the big guns. Intamin, one of, if not the most influential coaster manufacturers. Fast forward, and on June 10th, 2021, the VelociCoaster officially opens to the public. At the time, it was truly insane that Universal had a coaster like this. It got the haters quiet real quick. Now, for my ride nerds out there, here's a speed run of the stats. Reaching a max speed of 70 miles per hour, you're launched not once but twice through a highly detailed raptor paddock. Beware the raptors. Containing near misses, sound effects, and even rock work you zoom past, Universal left no detail out with this theme, which don't worry, I'll get to. But arguably the most iconic moment of this ride, Veloci's top hat, hits a max height of 155 feet. It may not be that tall, but it does pack a huge punch, containing one of the most insane moments of airtime. Oh, and did I mention it has 4 inversions? Yeah, Intamin didn't hold back and brought some diversity. Everything from stalls to a unique element dubbed the Mosasaurus Roll. Yes, literally Jurassic Park branded elements. It's truly the most insane thing ever, which again, we'll get to. Universal really said, give it the most amount of aura ever, and Intamin understood the assignment, shocking everyone's expectations, and they did not come to play. VelociCoaster is so impactful to this day, and consistently leads in awards or personal enthusiast rankings. Which enthusiasts, you know, those rankings matter. And if it's number 1 on a lot of people's lists, that kinda says something. Now, coaster aside, we gotta talk about its theme, because it's honestly so good. Giving a little bit of a lore drop, VelociCoaster, believe it or not, is like loose canon of the actual Jurassic World films, set before everything went wrong in the park. InGen decided to build a coaster through the raptor paddock, which, not gonna lie, if Jurassic World existed today, they would totally do. And I guess InGen's CEO was a serious doozy. Obviously, it's not exactly the safest idea, but the coaster plays with that concept as its tagline is literally, what could go wrong? Funny for coaster fans and terrifying for the GP. The great theming isn't only exclusive to the ride, but also applies to its queue, with a ton of show scenes to check out, a super realistic animatronic that blew my mind, and even a scene where you can literally see one of the launches up close, with added effects of raptors chasing the train. So amazing. As someone who's a huge fan of the Jurassic Park franchise, literally reading the books as well, I can't help but give bonus points to this ride as Universal knows how to please their fans, and also coaster enthusiasts. This one ride had Six Flags and Cedar Fair shivering in their boots. Now here's the only problem. A lot of people consider this coaster as bandwagon, with almost every enthusi putting it as number one. This leaves the question, is it that good, or are we just blindly following trends? That was definitely the question in my mind as I visited the park that day, and what better way to rate this peakness than by describing my first ever ride experience. The date was June 11th, which, as I'm making this video, I'm just now realizing I rode this coaster on the day after its birthday. Crazy. Anyways, out of that whole Florida trip, this was the coaster I most wanted to ride. Mind you, my number one at the time was Fury 325, which is not to say it's a bad coaster, but simply put, I haven't ridden as much as some sweats out there. Point is, I heard it was good, but genuinely did not know what to expect. VelociCoaster has such a grand entrance, literally flowing with aura. And yes, I can already hear people saying that we're riding the coaster and not the ride experience. Listen, this might be a hot take, but presentation matters. Will presentation save a bad ride? No. However, it can enhance a really good one. And the more we give credit to rides like this with amazing theming, the more it'll push other parks to do the same. And who doesn't want more theming? So Universal, y'all did a phenomenal job. And I really love how the queue has so much story elements to it. Continuing on, after about 40 minutes, it was finally time to ride. And yes, 40 minutes. Honestly, I expected way worse. But thanks to Florida's bipolar weather and this ride's insane capacity, it really helped. Repeating what I said in last episode, I seriously could not believe Universal was running 4 trains of VelociCoaster all at once. To y'all Florida locals, that might be normal, but me, growing up on Six Flags, it was a rare sight, and I loved it. As for boarding, we decided to sit in the very back, and I sat on the left side. But JB, why not the front? Well, 2 things. 1, the weather was kind of sketch and I didn't want the ride to shut down on me. And 2, I was desperate to ride VelociCoaster. And when it's your first time, in my opinion, the seats don't matter. Although back row is still a pretty solid choice. As we sat down and locked our restraints, I need to note how cool this train looks. For 1, they're pretty comfortable, with minimal restraints and big seats. But 2, this train design is elite. If you were to rank a coaster based off of its trains alone, VelociCoaster would be number 1 without a doubt. It has changing lights, sound effects while riding, and again, just looks very cool. Suddenly, the coaster starts to slowly pull away. With no warning, that first launch hit. One thing Intamin knows how to do is make very forceful launches, and this one was no exception. Literally gluing me to my seat as we sped up to 50 miles per hour in just 2 seconds. We did a quick turnaround, which any average coaster does, but this is VelociCoaster, meaning we were whipped around those turns. Suddenly you dive into a cave with a very cool head chopper effect, and with no time to think, I literally mean blink or you'll miss it, all of a sudden you're upside down for the first inversion, just like that. And to copy this coaster's pace, I won't even talk about the element, because by now we're already twisting and turning all throughout the paddock. Plants and raptors passing you by, which by the way feels so close you can touch them. This ride gives you no time to think, pulling you around wherever you go, diving over, under, side to side like you're in a freaking fighter jet. And before you know it, it's way too late to brace yourself for launch number 2. This one being the max speed of 70 miles per hour. On paper, that's not crazy fast, but VelociCoaster makes you feel it. I'm talking feeling like hyperspace, zooming you into the next moment, the peak. Peak hill for a peak ride. And let me pause this real quick and tell you why it's crazy in the back. At that moment, you can feel it slow down a little bit, but once you get over that hill, if you're sitting in the back like us, Velocity really says you better be holding on as you get whipped over that hill. Thanks to the minimal lap bars, you're flying. But oh no, it doesn't stop there, as despite my whole body still not being on the seat, we're already into our next inversion, the stall. Stalls are always insane for me, but VelociCoaster is next level, literally going over the guests and having moments of zero gravity. This coaster has no brakes, and this last half is literally that. The best way I can describe it is this video right here. After back-to-back whippy turns that literally try to send you out of your seat, the moment you've all been waiting for finally arrives, the one and only Mosasaurus Roll. At this moment, you're already going pretty fast. You traverse this entire layout in 12 seconds. But now, with no sign of slowing down, you're about to go into this roll. I did the math, and apparently at this point, you're going 55 miles per hour, 5 miles faster than the first launch. So while most rolls might feel like a moment of slow motion, this clip is exactly how it feels, which is even crazier in person, because me, being on the left side, literally got sent around this roll. If the lap bar did not exist right now, I'd be in the water. Also, random fun fact, but apparently there was supposed to be a Mosasaurus animatronic in the water. Sadly, it didn't happen, but the Mosasaurus Roll itself is peak. If you're someone watching this and has ridden VelociCoaster, you can testify in the comments. Anyways, after a grand finale like that, the ride is finally over. It was a beast from start to finish. After that, I was truly in shock. Could I have found my new favorite coaster? And my other thought was, let me get on again. I mean, as a visitor, I needed as many rides as possible before we left. And thankfully we did, with a grand total of 4. Yes, I know, not really a lot of re-rides, but I was still somewhat satisfied. Now, with the ride experience thoroughly analyzed, is VelociCoaster really that peak? And if so, how much? Let's find out. Every other coaster YouTuber may place a number ranking or have some sort of system to score the ride, but here we do things a little differently. I mean, for starters, it was too much work to do anyway, but my peak rankings come in 4 levels. 1. Rock bottom, as in I would do this ride once and probably that's it. 2. Mid climb, I would do it again, but I need some work. 3. Cliff, a feel good ride that's not a complete 10 but deserves huge credit. And the elusive peak. Peak is rare because it has to be so perfect that you could change nothing about this ride and it would still be good. And if someone were to call it their #1 coaster, you wouldn't even argue. So, does VelociCoaster fit that category? Well, I promise y'all, being peak is not easy. But just so happened, y'all asked to have 2 back-to-back peak coasters in these episodes. And I'm not gonna rage bait on purpose. VelociCoaster is peak, 0 doubt. If you genuinely do not like this coaster, I need some explanations. But for me, there's nothing wrong with this. Its theming is amazing, the ride vehicles, and most importantly, the ride experience. Truly one of a kind, and a coaster that makes your travel to Universal worth it. Like, as someone who can't afford to go to a ton of theme parks every year, this was my one big trip, and this coaster alone made it so worth it. All that to say, if you're a Florida local, you're very lucky. And for those who haven't been to this park, please go soon. You will not regret it. With VelociCoaster now ranked, now it's up to you, if you're still watching, to leave a suggestion in the comments down below for which coaster you want to see in episode 3. The comment with the most likes wins. With that said, here's this week's crew members, and I appreciate all of y'all's support. Thank you so much for sticking by even with my not consistent upload schedule. And trust, we got plenty of big videos on the way. This is JB Thrills signing out.